I'm just going to go straight into it. So I think that the biggest reason that people fall off or are not successful with things like yo-yo dieting, obviously that's not good. But the reason people get into this cycle is because they haven't realized that what they really need to be doing is mastering the art of building consistency. It's not about going 100% and then expecting results in a day or a week or even a month, because people burn out. It's not about going 100%. It's about just really building those habits first that are going to create success in the long term. So like consistency itself, this is the compound effect needed to produce powerful outcomes in over time. So not in a short time, over time. So it's not just about, like I said, 100%. It's stacking those habits little by little, little by little, and shaping a new identity. That's where the magic happens. So some of the common challenges that people bring up are, oh, I have a busy schedule. Oh, I lack motivation. Or I feel overwhelmed or just I don't have the habit set up, or it just doesn't work for me. But is that true? So before even creating these habits, what we want to start is creating a new identity for ourselves. So there's 3 levels to identity. I read this in the book Atomic Habits, but there are 3 levels to change. So there's outcome change. So the outcome change would be shifting what your ultimate goal is. Maybe instead of losing weight, now your goal is to build muscle. Next is process change. So maybe instead of going on walks, now you're lifting weights. So now you're changing the process, the means that you're using to get to that outcome change. And then the last level of change, and also the most important one, is identity change. So instead of saying things like, oh, I want to be a runner, you start saying stuff like, I am a runner. You have to take on this identity and really embody it and really believe it to start to create new habits. If you're still stuck in your old identity, you're always going to go back to those old habits that self-sabotage and don't get you to where you want to be. So this, in my opinion, is the most important. And this is what's going to produce fruit and not get you in a place of relying on motivation. Because when you're relying on motivation, it means that you haven't adopted a new identity, if that makes sense. So once you have this identity, there's less resistance. You don't have to power yourself through to create change because you are this new person. So the magic, I guess, of creating this new identity is not to focus on what you want to achieve, but focusing on the person you want to become, or the 2.0 version of you, your higher self, and really identifying what you want this to be. And really starting to believe that this is a new identity for you. Even though you can't see it yet, it's in you. And you're creating the actions to get you to a new outcome. And the outcome ends up being like a byproduct of the identity that you adopted. So this points us to your habits. So your habits are the process changes that we're putting in. So your habits are a vote towards the person that you are becoming, your new identity. And every time that you sleep in or you hang out with people that have the habits that you want to let go of, you're voting away from the person that you want to become. However, when you flip it, every time you don't sleep through your alarm, you start to hang around people that are more successful than you. You start showing up, not perfectly, but just showing up. You're voting towards the person that has this identity, this new version of you. And it's the least that you can do for yourself. So yeah, habits matter because they shape our beliefs about ourselves. So this goes back to our thoughts. You know, what kind of person do you think that you are? What kind of thoughts do you have? Do you let those thoughts that tell you to sleep and win, or do you put a stop to it? And do you say, no, this is enough? I'm gonna vote towards becoming this new identity. I'm sick and tired of where I've been at. So now we're gonna talk about strategies for building consistency. So number one is walk slowly but never backward. It's not about, like I said, going 100% right away. It's about 1% better every day. And like I said, consistency is about results over time, not right away, over time. So if you're 1% better for 365 days, then by the end of the year, you'll be 37% better. However, if you're 1% worse, or you're doing 1% less good habits every single day, you're taking one vote away from the person that you want to be every single day, well, you're going to be at 0 by the end of the year. And that's not where we want to be. And the next thing is to look at the law of least effort, or habit stacking. So our brains always want to go for things that are easier. So we always want to take the path of least resistance. Like, let's say you're so used to reaching for cereal. Well, that's going to be your habit. And let's say now you want to change and have healthier habits. You know, I'm going to have a good balanced breakfast with eggs, with fiber, and just minimal carbs. Well, it's going to take a little bit of work to get there. Now, what can we do to start to create less resistance or less effort? Maybe we can meal prep. That's the power of meal prepping. And not even like a huge meal prep, but let's make some boiled eggs ahead of time in the evening when I'm having my dinner. While I'm having my dinner, boil the eggs, because it's less resistance. It's right there. It's pretty easy. And then in the morning, oh, the eggs are already ready. I guess I'll just have the cereal that I've been having with the eggs. So now you're habit stacking. And little by little, you would add to that. Then you can start adding, let me fill up my water in the evening too with my creatine or my electrolytes. That way in the morning, it's already there. There's not a lot of resistance to do it. And on top of that, you can even say, now I'm going to put my water next to my bed. That way, when I first wake up, it's the first thing I see, and it reminds me, drink the water. And it's pretty easy. And there's so many things that you can do. One of my other favorites are put the scale in the restroom. So when you go to the restroom in the morning, the scale is already there, and you're not just like neglecting the scale. And remember, the scale is not telling you if you're being successful or not. It's just information, just data that we're taking. All right. And then the next thing is to use a 2-minute rule. So a 2-minute rule is going to be good if you really don't want to do the thing that you are trying to accomplish. So let's say your goal is to go to the gym, but you're really fighting with yourself. Okay, what would be a 2-minute action that you can simplify this whole task to, that can get you to just take action? And you don't have to end up going to the gym, but let's say putting on our shoes, or putting our workout clothes on, or filling up our water, something like that. And then let's say you do that every single day for a week. Well, eventually you're actually going to get in your car and go to the gym, because you're habit stacking. So it goes back to the other habit that we were talking about. So this is part of identity building. So because you're doing this 2-minute task, you're starting to become that person that puts on their shoes to go to the gym every single day. Something so small can start to shift your identity. Or, oh, let me write down my workout. Let me write down my workout every day. Okay. And then, okay, now I feel good after like a week of writing it down to go actually do it. It's about really just simplifying something big into a small task to change your identity. Because remember, identity is the most important part to creating consistency and not relying on motivation. That's what we're trying to get rid of, not relying on motivation, and having a new identity that leads us. All right, and then make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible. So we want to change our environment. Let's say you have a ton of junk food in your home. This is the easiest thing you can start by doing. Get rid of that junk food or put it somewhere where you cannot see it or reach it, and make the healthy foods available and in eyesight. So let's say, I was in my kitchen. I'm going to put all the fruits, all the protein bars, all the supplements in my view, maybe even some healthier sweet treats, and then all the junk food further. So in the back of the cupboard, or really high where I cannot reach it. So I actually need to do work. Remember, your body is going to go for the things that provide less resistance. So if it's in your reach, easy to see, easy to reach, you're going to go for it. And this happens a lot. It even happens to me sometimes because I don't always organize my kitchen. But in the kitchen, sometimes the family will put out some junk food and then you end up reaching for a bite of a cookie or something. Well, that wouldn't have happened if that was put away. Or it would have been less likely because you would have had to make more of an effort. So you want to change your environment. And then the last or second to last thing is to make it more enjoyable. So there's something called the hedonic principle, something like that. And it says that your brain will always go for things that provide more pleasure. So let's say you're a very competitive person, but you hate fitness. Okay, let's make it competitive. Why don't you join a competition with somebody? And that'll help you stay on your fitness journey. So really leaning on your strengths, things that you enjoy. Maybe you hate cardio, but you like playing soccer, or you like to spend time in nature. Well, then that would be a way to make it enjoyable. Taking pictures. Maybe you love social media, you like getting attention. Well, then making a separate Instagram for your fitness journey so you can document your entire journey, and that'll make you more likely to adhere with it because you're enjoying it. This is something that aligns with you. So that, or you can do it with a friend. Maybe you're very relationship oriented, community oriented. So not doing it by yourself, maybe asking your friend or your sister or a parent or a significant other to do it with you. Or just meeting somebody. Go to a Facebook group and start posting, hey, I'm doing this, anybody want to join? And I'm pretty sure people will comment and want to join you. I've seen it happen before. And then maybe you can also reward yourself. Like, okay, after I accomplish, building 10 more pounds of muscle, I'm going to go on a trip. Having that little bit of a reward, or something smaller, like I'm going to try that new restaurant. Like, I'm not going to try this new restaurant until I reach my goal of 10 more pounds of muscle, whatever it is for you. So looking for something that will motivate you kind of motivate you, but not rely on motivation, to help you just take action and stay consistent. And then the last thing will be having tools and resources. So using training apps that keep things more organized for you and have a community as a part of the program, or having a coach. I am taking clients, having an accountability buddy, tracking your food inside of an app, things that you can log. Sometimes you just need to see it, right? And I recommend you doing this anyways because you want to be organized. Logging your workouts. So maybe having like a calendar in your wall and you mark it every time that you do it. So relying on tools and resources or people or coaches or apps will also help you be more consistent. That's what they're there for. So it's good to utilize them and not just like, oh, I'm just gonna, try to be healthier. Okay, but how are you quantifying it? If you don't track it, you don't really have anything to look back to. So it's not about tracking it and being like, oh, I sucked, I failed. It's just keeping track of it so we can see what we have to change. Cool. All right, so that pretty much concludes what I wanted to talk to you guys about. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. And I'm going to post this right afterwards. And just as a reminder, I'm Tracy. I am your holistic fitness coach. I help high achievers get their dream body by bridging fitness and holistic health. And I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you soon.